When I met Domenico, I think probably for our first interview, I asked him how he ended up becoming president of Gucci America, and he sort of shrugged and said, "I spoke Italian." Who's Domenico De Sole? The short answer is that he was the head of Gucci. The bigger answer is that as the business head of Gucci, he really understood how to collaborate with creativity. He really transformed the way that we think about fashion. I mean, he made it into not just a global business, but a global publicly traded business.
What does Gucci have that everyone wants? The famous, like this pretty woman.
Where does a gal go for one-of-a-kind pants? Filene's?
Gucci?
Oh. Ooh.
I'm Jennifer Tilly, and I'm a Gucci-holic.
Gucci really became the show that you needed to see. It was really defining the sensibility of the time. It was really defining what a fashion show could look like. I remember that it was one of the few runways that was pretty diverse, and it was a runway that oozed sex. Like, it just bubbled over with sex. It was very sexy. I don't know, did I say it was sexy? It was very sexy.
And tonight we focus on one company that's been around since the mid-1920s, but only recently has made its way to Wall Street. And
brand transformed from classic to cool when CEO Domenico De Sole brought in a creative director, Tom Ford. The Gucci name is now so hot.
I think one of the things that Gucci will always be remembered for is the IPO. The IPO absolutely changed the nature of the fashion industry. It changed the way that Wall Street thought about fashion. And I think it also changed the way that the public at large looked at fashion. You know, it invited in a lot of people who were not interested in hemlines and color stories. And, you know, it just sort of widened the audience for the consumption of fashion. And by that, I don't just mean the clothes, I mean just sort of the idea of it and the impact of it.
With his dark suits and lawyer's demeanor, De Sole may not fit in with the supermodels and socialites, but he knows how they shop.
This has been very, very successful and it's basically sold out on a worldwide basis. So I'm delighted with it. As far as I'm concerned, everything I wear is a little more conservative. In fact, Tom's makes fun of me of all time. However, I would like to point out that this is a Gucci suit, it's a Gucci tie, a Gucci shirt, and Gucci shoes.
During the Gucci years, Domenico's greatest accomplishment was really maintaining the success that Gucci had achieved and fending off a takeover by LVMH. I mean, that was the big fashion business story of the decade, really. Gucci was sort of slowly building itself into a conglomerate of luxury brands. And LVMH, the largest luxury conglomerate in the world, basically wanted Gucci. And Domenico was having none of it. All the time that Domenico had spent in the US really gave him a different way of dealing with the media. And the media was all over this story. Domenico was very accessible. You know, he talked about Gucci and he talked about it in a really personal way. You know, he talked about it as a company that meant a lot to him. And I think that really registered with people. I think it really gave people a connection to him. And I think it, in many ways, sort of speaks to, you know, who he is as a person. Obviously, you know, Domenico's influence continues, you know, today through Tom Ford. But honestly, the Gucci film, I wanted more Domenico.